Hello everyone, and welcome back to another episode of Hyrule Chronicles, Legend of Zelda D&D campaign, episode number 37. I am the GM ArticulateT, and with me today I have, being played by the NetherlAd, Renji Nihilus.
A pleasure.
I have, being played by Alvarance, Hikan Sio.
Hello.
I have, being played by Robo-Pirate, Ziden Shari.
Hello.
And I also have, being played by Keystrith, Max.
Hi.
So, friends, what happened last time?
Last time on Hyrule Chronicles, we, after dispatching a Goriah, a fiend of, hyena-ish character, we found the ledges of a Sir Fairwind, managed to bring them back to said Sir, got some money for it, which means that we are, currently able to give some rounds. We asked around with some of the guards what is actually happening in Sarcossa port, and why is this mist appearing, and why are people, dying and disappearing. And then we talked with a very nice mayor who I may have somewhat gotten upset with us for asking some not so tactful questions about loyalty and allegiance and stuff. And then we
I thought Max was blunt.
Yeah. Can't always use piercing or slashing damage. And then we've met a very old friend, or rather old one-time enemy, who we thoroughly embarrassed and is now in Sarcossa port to probably get away from us, but hasn't really worked. Person. We met, was it Boris? Bruno. Different B. We met Bruno again, who, without his silver gauntlets of strength, is now wielding an axe, and we know that he's here now. We know. Anything I missed?
I don't believe so. I think, Bruno was actually wielding a javelin as opposed to an axe. That's fine.
My apologies.
That's okay. But yeah, that seems to have summed everything up pretty concisely. As such, we once again find ourselves back in Sarcossa, rejoining our party as they have seen Bruno off. Now the day is theirs. It is kind of mid to late, or late afternoon, early evening. Do you have anything you wish to do before potentially retiring for the evening? Do you have any leads you want to follow up on, or things you wish to do?
Nothing comes to mind. For Hikan, at least.
I can't think of anything.
I think Renji would like to get some rest. He is wandering, and he probably will ask Ziden or Mara about this. This Fairwind called himself, or people called him Lord, but I've not heard about any specific noble families in Sarcossa port.
Make history checks.
History!
13 and 20. Ziden, with your 13, you feel that, it is a bit weird that a non-nobleman is being called Lord. It's not exactly the right honorific to go with. especially for someone who was effectively a businessman. But the reason as to why kind of eludes you slightly. But Renji, as you kind of ponder this out loud, it does occur to you that Lord, or in certain cases, Milord, is kind of a it kind of transitioned from being exclusively reserved to the nobles and being brought over as kind of a acknowledgement of higher status. Essentially, because Richard Fairwind is a rich businessman and is very well-to-do and commands a bunch of respect, a lot of the people in Sarcossa potentially have a habit of referring to him as Lord simply because they see him as being above them. Not everyone in that kind of situation refers to people above them as Lord in that sense. It's possible that while passing through the slums back in Hyrule Castle Town, this kind of terminology has occurred before, and is often reserved to not only people seeing you as above your station, but also having the respect to go with it. If someone is above you in terms of wealth or authority and you hate their guts, chances are you probably wouldn't use Lord or Milord or Milady or something like that to talk to them. At least that's the reasoning that kind of goes through your mind at that point.
Oh well. When in Sarcossa.
So, what is the plan, friendos?
Sleep?
Yeah, I think it'd be time to go rest. With actually,
Well, that's
I
a
think.
good session.
And so it is that episode 37 comes to an end as you all go to bed now. Yeah, you return to the Sarcossa Inn, where you encountered the Deku scrub who runs the place. If I remember correctly, I believe his name is Thicket. Or is
Yes, Thicket.
There we go. I was going to say, I'm wondering if that's a different.
The two Deku scrubs that are Thicket and Cashew.
Yes.
Yep.
Yes. So you enter back in. It's still fairly, like, there's not much business at this point in time, which is a touch unfortunate. But chances are, like, if most of the people who come in and out, who successfully come in and out of Sarcossa are, like, sailors who are typically utilizing as much of their money as they can, or for as much purpose, they'll probably want to go to the cheaper place, which would be the Crow's Lament by the port. But there are a couple of patrons who are quietly talking and having themselves a drink and eating some food. And you see Thicket, who's kind of just standing on the bar as he looks around the area, and he sees you come in and he waves.
Hikan politely waves back.
I'll probably get a seat someplace where we can sit with each other.
Okay. Yeah, there's a appropriately sized table for the five of you. There's kind of this nice circular affair that sort of sits in one corner of the room, nicely lit by a couple of torch sconces and next to a window, which captures the last of the sunlight as it begins to fade away for the evening. And as you sit down, the chairs are nice and comfy. They're kind of padded almost, which is a bit, it's rather, compared to other inns you've been in, especially in Sarcossa, it's rather ritzy. Nice padded seats. As you sit down, Mara places a book on the table and kind of opens up to a center page and just begins to quietly read to herself. What are the rest of you doing? Are you going to sit down as well, or are you going to get a drink or some food, or what's the plan?
I'm gonna sit down close to the window and just keep an eye out there see where the fog comes in from.
Hikan will do the same after getting a drink, because he did a lot of thinking today.
Okay. As you approach the bar, Thicket kind of does a full body bow to you, and says, "Well, it's good to see you today. How can I help you? Would you like a drink, some food? You need a room?
A drink, please. I think one of my compatriots actually got all the money from helping Mr. Fairwind, but a drink would do me very well. What's the strongest thing you got? That's not Goron Rot, because that's deadly.
Goron Rot, we don't get Goron Rot nowadays, no. It's kind of dangerous to have around, really. So we don't stock it here, but let's see, what's the strongest thing we got? Give me a second. And he hops off the bar, and like you can see the tuft of the bush that's on his head just kind of bob up and down as he totters back and forth to have a look at his stock. Eventually he using like a set of boxes as a set of stairs, he clambers back onto the bar and presents you with 2 glass bottles and what appears to be a copper flask. And he says, okay, so this one here, and he presents you with this glass bottle, which is fairly standard shape with green glass. It has a little label on it, which looks like a it looks more, at first glance, it looks like a rugged explorer with the 1 foot on the rock and everything and just kind of chest puffed out. But as you look at the artwork a little closer, it indicates that the guy is very sourced. He says, this is what we call Labrina's Lush. It's kind of a sweet, fruity drink. It gets to work really quickly, but most people say that the actual effects kind of fade away rather quickly as well. Kind of goes through your system quite quickly. And he puts it down and he presents you with the other bottle, this one being a little more curved and kind of red in color. This one not having a label on it at all. He says, now this one comes from the Lake Hylia settlement. They say that essentially because most of the best booze that comes in, that sort of thing focuses on Sarcossa and then is run dry by the time it gets to Lake Hylia, being more or less on the other side of the kingdom. So they had to make their own. Hylia's encouragement, as they call it, lasts a little longer. It's a bit more insidious. So you can drink a lot of it, and by the time you realize you are drunk, it's kind of too late by that point. And he puts it down, and he presents you with this copper flask, which has no label on it, seems kind of beaten up. And he says, this stuff I get all the time from Drumnik. I don't get a name for it, and people are often too scared to try it. So, and he's like,
I'll try the flask.
Okay. Okay, I was recommended to sell this at, you get it for, 1 gold piece for half the flask.
I'll give him 2 gold pieces and take the whole flask.
Okay, he presents you with the flask, and pockets 2 gold pieces before scooping up the other 2 bottles and, kind of putting them to one side and says, well, you're the first, so, good luck, and let me know how it goes, okay?
And Hikan will nod and go sit with his friends and open up the flask and sip at it to kind of get the taste and all the rest of it.
Okay. You take a sip. The first thing that happens is the moment it touches your tongue, it burns. It's like it's like drinking, or like the sensation is as if you've kind of just taken a sip out of like a hot sauce bottle. But after a moment, the burn kind of goes away and is replaced by this admittedly pleasant numbness, which kind of just it hampers your ability to talk a little bit as kind of you feel your tongue getting numbed out. You can't quite, like, you go to swallow, but you can't quite tell if you have swallowed or whether or not the alcohol is kind of burned away by the time it reached the back of your throat.
Well then. That's a bit different than what I was expecting, but I did ask for strong stuff.
Sounds like it.
My tongue's a bit numb.
Sounds like it.
Feels nice though.
That's good.
I'll take your word for it.
Saito's just sitting there going, lesser restoration?
Not yet.
No.
No.
Oh dear.
Oh no, I'm gonna do this for a while.
Yeah.
Wendy, should we make a note about what Bruno saw with Flamgo?
Maybe.
Because I know that Mr. Graves would probably like to hear about that. And if he's tied to these people, then I point to the dagger. Then it's probably good for your dad to know about it too.
Yeah. Also, maybe it. I don't mean to discourage, but the way you like showed the dagger to Sir Fairwind, I think it's best to keep an eye on maybe figuring out if we can see that being repeated someplace, but not like visibly showing it, like obviously showing it to anyone we don't yet trust.
Fair enough.
Might tip our hand too soon.
Makes sense. Is that why you grilled the mayor so hard?
Yeah, admittedly, that wasn't the best performance I've had in Social Grace.
It's okay. It happens to the best of us. We learned our lesson.
You certainly did.
Well, at the very least, she seemed amiable even afterwards.
True. It was something that worried me.
She didn't kick us out.
That as well, yes.
Okay. So as you kind of...
I start making a note of Bruno's account and being able to, like, so that I'm able to send it to my father when we have the possibility to do so.
Okay. Excellent. So as you kind of write that down and continue to make conversation, the sun truly begins to set, and as it does so, you observe Thicket as he hops down from the bar and kind of, in a somewhat comical fashion, like brings out this nice big wooden plank on one shoulder as he totters between the tables, and then eventually gets to the front door, at which point he hefts it up and bars the door shut. And then just kind of triumphantly dusts his hands off. Says,
So, just for the sake of comedic effect, how much taller is the bar that he's carrying than him?
oh, he has to, like, the actual bar that he uses is at least is more than twice his height. Like, it's a double door to get in, and being a Deku Scrub, he's only like 3 foot tall. So it's like this 6 foot long plank of wood just kind of like holding it along. But he kind of like pushes it up, like full arms stretch out to try and put it over the latches and puts it on. And dusts his hands triumphantly, and then kind of turns about and says, if you haven't gotten a room, well, I think there's some available. If you don't have the money for it, I don't mind you sleeping down here. Just don't make a mess, please. Thank you.
I suppose we should get some rooms.
Max is not taking his eyes off the window.
Hikan nods in agreement with Renji, but yeah, is also just keeps glancing at the window.
As you watch the window, you can see between the buildings this mist forming, and it forms at an unnaturally quick speed. Like, it's one of those things where it's like you could just sit and watch it and be conscious of the changes in density of this fog as it rolls in. It starts as kind of a haze, but over the course of about an hour, it gets to the point where you can't even see the buildings across the street from you. That's how thick it is.
Does it look like there's any direction to it? Does it look like it's coming from anywhere in particular, getting stronger at a certain point and before other points?
It looks like it's rushing towards you from the port, as if it's coming in from sea.
Okay.
We just say that we just had a short rest, by the way.
I'd say you've had a short rest, yeah.
What we were told.
Sorry, repeat that?
I said that lines up with what we were told.
So I walk towards the window.
Okay.
And with it getting darker, I would like to cast. Where is it? Oh, darn it. Wait, huh? Oh, never mind. I don't have that spell. I thought I had a different spell, but no.
Okay.
I just want to look around it to see if there's anything that I can notice through the fog.
Okay. Roll me a perception check.
That's a 17.
I would also like to try and squint through the fog.
Okay.
But I get an 8.
Oh.
Oh boy, here we go again.
Yeah.
Yeah, let's all squint through the fog. A 19.
Scooby-Doo style.
13. Okay. So as you kind of stare out the window into this rolling fog bank that kind of just almost seems to push against the glass. It's interesting to know how, I don't know how often your characters have seen fog before as a natural phenomenon, but even then, you kind of look at this fog and think it looks like if it had the physical force to do so, it looks like it's trying to force its way through the windows. Like it's trying to force itself past the door, but it's just kind of pushing against it and doing its best to kind of not allow you to peer through it. Hikan. You think you see something move rapidly past the window. Like, it doesn't stop and stare in. It doesn't seem to be hiding underneath the window. You just see something as if something sprints by. But the actual form of it is really, it's not easy to describe. You don't really get any details, but you think you see something shifting really quickly past the window, as if running down the street.
Would I be able to guess, not necessarily discern, its size? Does it seem the size of an average person or larger kind of thing?
Does it hear anything?
You'd reckon around that size. As for hearing things, no. It seems to be silent.
I assume at this point the numbness has kind of gone away a little bit.
Yeah, if you haven't taken another sip, then you're fine.
I haven't, since we're trying to be somewhat alert. And it's like, did anyone else see the shape run by?
No.
No.
It was moving pretty quickly and seemed to be about person-sized, but I didn't get a good long look at it. It just ran by and...
Maybe we should take watches tonight, have people listen out for anything. Might happen.
Sounds like a good idea.
I mean, we can double or triple up in rooms and do it in shifts.
Hmm.
Could do a 2 and a 3. I'll sleep on
Yeah.
the floor. I always do.
Okay.
Seems fair.
Okay. Yeah, and as you kind of continue to look out the window, you don't see anything new. If you speak to Thicket about a potential room, he sells comfortable rooms, so being 8 silver pieces per room. So if you're planning on doubling up a room, well, however many rooms you plan on sharing, that's pretty much the capacity. He is somewhat confused by the decision, but we'll happily provide you with the key to as many or as few rooms as you wish.
Okay, so above game thinking 2.
Yeah.
Who wants to bunk up with whom?
I don't mind bunking up. I'm
I said-
thinking
like I
Mara
said-
would like some privacy.
Like I said, Max isn't gonna take a bed, so he'll go in the room that Mara is, and then so she has fewer people with her if she wants that.
And I think all of us at this point are comfortable sharing rooms with each other.
So far, yes.
Okay.
Rooms, random patches of grass, all the same.
Yeah. So
Okay.
let's see now. So who is in what rooms? So I am aware.
I think we then have 2 rooms.
So you have 2
Yes,
rooms.
2 rooms.
Max and Mara for 1. And
Well,
Ziden. Oh,
Max is going in whichever room Mara isn't in.
Okay.
So
Oh.
Mara has more room.
Because Mara needs a bed, Max doesn't.
right.
So whoever wants to go with Mara can
Ziden
do
will
that.
go with Mara.
And I will go with you too.
I was thinking we should give Mara some privacy, but
Well, there's that, but there's also the downside too. We don't really want to risk her getting kidnapped by whatever's in the mist.
Exactly.
yeah, true.
So we'll put you with the older guy who probably isn't.
He
a
doesn't
threat.
care.
Says you.
He'll just turn into a wolf, and it's just like being a dog.
I've been playing D&D for 10 years, and for not once have I encountered anybody who has attempted to be a Master Roshi. And I'm proud of that fact. I'm pleased with the capacity of my players to have some kind of dignity.
Good.
Yeah. That being said,
Alright.
chances are next campaign I do.
Everybody, Master Roshi.
Oh god.
No. If it's any consolation, I will never make one.
Thank you.
Lads on tour!
Alright. So, Thicket provides you with 2 keys, and as you head up, it does appear that the keys to the rooms he provides you to are basically twin rooms. So as you enter, you see that there are 2 beds, single beds, one on each side of the room, with a single kind of like chest, like a foot locker chest, in an area where you can store your stuff, and they do have windows, pointing out more or less in the same direction as the front of the inn. Giving you a bit more of a view, considering Sarcossa is more or less on a slope downhill. You can see, you would think that from this area you would be able to see the tops of roofs and have a bit more of a view of the street below. But with the fog, you can see jack shit.
Would like to take first watch.
I can take first watch.
I'll join you.
I guess I'll take second watch then.
Okay.
Okay. As I see that.
And Mara does have a ring too.
Yeah,
Yes.
she does have a ring, so she can do that as well. She says to Ziden, so watches. Did you want to do first watch or second?
I'll go first.
Okay,
Sleep well.
thank you. And she then kind of clambers into a bed. She doesn't even bother to get changed. She just kind of clambers into a bed and then seemingly falls asleep. Those of you who are currently on the first watch, roll me perception checks.
Perception.
Oh, nice one, Max.
24.
Very good.
All right.
Alright.
24, 20, and 18.
So you kind of I'm guessing you guys, since pretty much all of you have some kind of dark vision, you don't really have like the candle on or anything like that?
Yep.
Okay.
Which does bring up a question. Were there like lampposts or anything that would have been lit through the streets of Sarcossa?
Seemingly yes. But there's like either the fog is too thick to see them, or because of the curfew, even the guards don't bother lighting them at this point.
Fair enough. Fair enough. Figured I'd ask.
There's the possibility that they are manually lit, so
Yeah.
someone would have to go out there in the fog to light them.
That's just no good. But yeah. So in the darkness, you kind of peer out and keep an eye out. And you don't, again, because of the fog, it's nigh impossible to see anything. You occasionally hear the errant caw of a seagull. But it is, because of the curfew and the fog and everything, it's eerily quiet. Eventually, though, Max, you start to hear singing. It sounds like a woman's voice, and the tune is rather somber, but you think you can hear the faint echo of song.
Just puts his ear to the window and is like, they're singing?
I don't hear anything right now.
He's gonna try and make out some of the words.
What languages do you speak?
Hylian, Goron, Blin, and Draconic.
Okay. Hikan, what languages do you speak?
I speak Hylian, Sheikah, and Gerudo.
Okay.
Ziden has common Sheikah and Kokiri.
So, as you kind of like sit and listen, it's not in a language that you understand, and as you kind of try and form the words to allow Hikan to listen to it, Hikan, you don't seem to understand it either. And Ziden, as you kind of sit and focus and eventually manage to hear the singing too, it's not a language you speak either.
Does it sound like the language that Renji was speaking earlier?
I mean,
which would be Zoran. Because Renji was speaking Zoran with the barkeep.
You kind of think back. Sounds a little similar.
Max is writing down the words phonetically in Draconic so he can recite them later if they're no longer going.
It's eventually, after at least a few minutes, the singing fades away, And all you're left with is the slight breeze coming in from the sea from the outside, and the occasional caw of a seagull, and just that eerie quiet. And it lasts until the end of your watch.
Max will stand and go wake Renji up.
Oh, what is it?
Yeah, to end. We heard something during the night.
Okay.
And Max will just look down at the paper and just say the words phonetically.
Okay. Renji, this sounds like Zoran. It sounds like a song. Well, yeah, it has the rhyming sort of aspect of a song. The actual context of the words that have been written down seem to be about the singer lamenting or pining for someone who was either left for a long journey or who has since died.
Okay. Well, yeah, that's Zoran, all right. And I
Give me
try
a
and
second.
explain the meaning behind the words.
Hikan, before he goes to bed, will go over, since it's kind of mid-watch shift change. We'll knock on Ziden and Mara's door.
Okay. Ziden, you and Mara hear a knock on your door.
Ziden will go and open the door to see who it is.
Hi, Ziden.
Yeah.
Hello.
Renji, I don't know if you heard it, but there was singing, and Renji recognized it as Zoran, and then I remembered those people that we met in Castletown. Do you remember the pendant? Could you use your magic findy thingy real quick to see if it comes in from the same direction that the singing was?
Yes.
Okay. To locate object, you focus on the pendant that Tide had shown you back in Castletown, though likely it's opposite since it's one of those kind of two halves sort of thing.
Yeah.
It's faint, but you do reckon that you can sense an object of that kind coming from, you think, further into town, possibly one of the markets, if you remember your location thing. Like, you kind of sense is like, it is in that direction, and from exploring earlier, I think that's where one of the markets are.
Okay.
So Ziden will nod his head and slowly point in the direction that he feels it coming from. Over there.
Okay. I think we've got a plan for something to do tomorrow then, and I'll go let them know. Let's go get some rest. And then Hikan will explain to Max and Renji before he goes into his trance.
Okay.
Max just sits down by a wall and goes to sleep.
Mara will kind of just give a nod to Ziden and then just kind of put the book to one side and idly stare out the window. And yeah. Okay. So Renji, you kind of sit and listen and watch, your eyes focusing on the darkness and the fog.
Mm-hmm.
And you kind of, after a while, you think you hear a noise. You're like, what is that? You can't quite make it out. You kind of like look out the window to see if you can see anything, but it's and then you kind of,
Too opaque.
yeah. It's like you feel like it's too quiet and muffled. But eventually there is at your door.
I slowly open the door a bit and glance outside.
You see Mara, who kind of looks at you and says, did you hear that?
Yeah, but I couldn't really place it. Why?
I think it was a scream.
Where?
Outside. I don't know the distance, but it was definitely outside.
Right. I won't be long, and I will blink. I will step out of the inn and head to where the noise was coming from.
Okay.
Like, hold out my rapier, and I have my shield.
Okay.
Now, with trance, I am aware of what just happened, right?
Yes.
Okay. And there's a window?
There is a window.
Okay. So I will quietly open the window, jump out of the window, or like hold onto the edge, close the window, and then just like jump down.
Okay. All right. And since you're also able to trance, Ziden, you are aware that Mara seemingly heard something outside, then got up and left the room, but you could hear that she was knocking on the next door, so she hasn't gone far.
And
He'll
I'm
wait.
sound asleep.
Nudged.
Hmm?
He will wait until someone, says, "Hey, come help with this thing." His companions wouldn't do anything crazy like jump out into the fog.
So yeah.
To be fair, it is the children of the group.
Yeah, so Mara will, having kind of watched Renji vanish and then Hikan sort of get up and then slide out the window, she's going to be like, okay, and wake both Max and Ziden up.
How long have I been asleep?
You've been asleep for about 2 hours now.
Okay. Might not be long enough for him to have any nightmares, so just wakes up like,
The roof is intact then.
Hey,
why not fix it?
there was I heard a scream outside. I told Renji, and now Renji and Hikan have gone out.
Okay.
I'm gonna go and get Ziden.
Yeah, do that.
And she then heads out to get Ziden and more or less nudges you awake and tells you the same thing.
You should stay here where it's safe. We'll go look for them.
Okay. I'm guessing eventually all of you manage to find your way outside. As thick as the fog is, you are able to eventually find each other outside. As you kind of look around, it's awfully cold, more so than you might have been expecting. And the way, Renji, the direction that Mara pointed, you can tell that there's probably you can more or less guess the streets where it is. What is collectively your plan of action from this point? You are currently outside the Sarcossa Inn in the fog.
My idea was to investigate, try not to be seen or spotted, and just figure out what is going on.
Okay.
So I would like to do some sort of stealthy thingy.
Okay. So do your stealthy thingy. By which I mean roll full stealth.
Thank you. Ah, that's a natural 1.
Oh no!
A 9.
No wonder we found you.
It's really hard to be sneaky if you can't see where you're going.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. So as you kind of maneuver around, I'm guessing you guys kind of follow Renji where he's going.
Yeah.
Okay. So
Not gonna get lost in this shit.
yeah. As you
Are we going towards the markets? Just out of curiosity, since that seemed to be is that
you
direct
think
stream?
this is the general direction that it should be, yeah.
Okay.
But eventually, as you kind of maneuver around, Renji, you turn a corner and immediately walk into like a half empty barrel of something, and there's a as stuff kind of spills out. It's remarkably loud. Almost makes some of you jump, possibly considering how quiet the rest of the place is.
Listen to see it to in case anything reacts to that.
Yes.
Kind of. Anyway, roll perception checks.
19.
That'd be
25.
Okay.
21.
Ziden was spooked by the barrel.
Ah.
Sorry.
Just it.
Oh, my heart! It's fine.
19, 21, 25, and natural 1, 9. As you kind of look around, you don't seem to see anything through the fog, but further down the street you hear something drop. And then you think, and then with the 25, you think you hear like a like wet foot on stone as it runs off in a certain direction.
I would like to follow it.
Okay.
Same.
I'll follow them.
So it is that you follow the noise.
Hear the noise.
There we go. Zoom in a bit because it's a little bit pixelated at the moment, at least on the camera. Okay.
I just realised I didn't actually click to confirm my short rest thing. There's it.
That's right. Go ahead and do it now. There you go.
Exactly all my HP back.
Yeah. So you arrive in this kind of area, and oddly enough, the fog seems a little bit thinner here. Like you can make out the vague silhouettes of the tents in the center of this little marketplace here. They haven't even been put away, which is interesting. Perhaps the fog rolled in fast enough that people just thought they'd abandon them and head inside where it's safer. But you lose the sound of the running of the wet footsteps on cobblestone as you arrive here.
Okay. Like more of like it faded out or just sort of stopped.
By the time you got to this open area, you couldn't hear it anymore. So it's just it might have faded away.
I'd like to look for wet footprints.
Okay. Roll for survival, because technically this is tracking.
Okay. I'm supposed to be good at these. Let's go. An 18.
Yeah.
Not bad.
18's good. So as you kind of look down, you have a scout around. You see these little puddles kind of seeping in between the cracks of the cobblestone, and you kind of begin to follow them. They seem to be heading at the very least in oh no, I'm on the wrong button. There we go. So they kind of head in this direction.
Okay. So I will move myself there and just kind of keep a look around. I am moving relatively slowly and carefully, trying not to cause too much more attention.
Yeah.
Okay. So I will whisper softly in Sheikah. It's like, I found footprints. Little puddles. I found footprints. Oh, wait, shit. You don't speak Sheikah.
What?
I pantomime like footprint and point.
Okay.
Okay.
I don't want to lose you, so I'm just gonna follow.
That's perfectly fine. Do I see any changes or any shadows walking around or anything like that, since I noticed a figure moving when the fog rolled in here?
Make a perception check.
Perception 21. I'm on fire tonight.
Nice.
You don't seem to immediately sense anything's changed. What you do note is that as you get to that point there, the footprints seemingly stop.
I follow Hikan a little bit. Do you see any more?
I don't. I look under the umbrella to the right.
You peek inside. From what you can see of this this kind of market tent, there's a little table, and there appears to be little bolts of cloth that are propped up against the back wall. But from what you can tell, like, the table itself isn't like one of those front cover desk sort of things. You can clearly see under it. Doesn't appear to be anything out of the ordinary.
I will whisper more in common that I will ask, do you know Tide? It's kind of like a stage whisper. So a loud whisper, but yeah.
Tide?
Yeah, the Zora that we helped. Or that we said that we'd find his sister if we ever went to Port Sarcossa.
The one whose sister's necklace you were locating object on.
I don't remember names very well.
Ziden remembers them for the use of their spells, like you and Renji are prestidigitation.
Ziden,
I'm also mending.
Hikan uses fist.
Ziden, your passive perception is 18.
Yep.
You hear a dull thud right here.
Ziden will turn that way and look.
You see this weird, vague silhouette of a shape, this kind of long, gangly humanoid figure that kind of just seems hunched over. They seem to be like this mess of wetness, and they have these long, angry claws.
We're in a magical mist, right?
Yeah.
Ah, go away, magical mist!
Okay, so in that spot right there, as the magical mist dissipates around it, you can see in full form is this tall, thin, humanoid creature covered in seaweed and moss, with what appears to be tentacles just hanging from its face and these long iron-like claws. And as it kind of becomes in full view and you cast a spell, it's and we're going to roll initiative.
All right.
Oh shit!
Oh my, language.
Ah.
Change the music to something a bit more.
No!
How do you do the tiebreaker thing?
So if you go to the settings icon,
Mm-hmm.
there should be a thing. I'm trying to figure out where it is on this particular one, but there is a add tiebreaker to initiative. Yeah, so it's in initiative, in the second column from the left.
Oh, there we go.
Send
Break.
a tracker, break ties. Yep.
Wonderful.
There we go. That 14. Yeah. My mouse likes to click and hold often. Okay. So, first order of business. Hikan, it is your turn. You kind of turn and see as it kind of snarls at Ziden, this gangly looking creature, unable to get its surprise round on you guys, so it's normal initiative. Go for it. What do you
Yay,
do?
magic.
I'm going to presume that Khan has enough mentality to know that this is not Azora, especially not an Orc Azora that looks a lot like Tide. So I'm going to run up next to it, and then I'm going to punch it a couple of times.
Okay.
22 for 8.
Okay. For 8, you say?
6, sorry.
Oh,
My angle's a bit different. I'm adjusting seats and stuff, so.
that's all right. It's all good.
6.
So that hits.
And then I would like to see if I can stun it. That would be a DC 14, as it says.
So it makes a Constitution saving throw. Gets a 16.
It's a 16. Impressive. Okay. Then I would just go ahead and punch it 3 more times using another key point for flurry of blows.
Okay.
17. I am rolling poorly on damage.
So another 6 damage.
Okay.
And
22.
Luckily, all of them hit. But yeah, I
One
mean,
more.
6 damage as your minimum damage is pretty
Pretty good.
substantial. Yeah, and the 18 hits, so that's another 7. You kind of just
Alright.
run up to say, there's like these wet squelches as you punch into seaweed, but there's this weird thing. Roll a perception check for me, actually.
Of course. A 10. There we go.
You're too busy punching a moist, scary-looking enemy, so it's kind of distracting you from something you might have picked up on. Never mind.
Okay, well, okay. That would be a turn.
Okay. Ziden.
Ziden will step to say here so as not to get in the way.
Okay.
Then he will transform into a giant elk.
Okay.
As one does.
I still can't control this one.
You can't control. Ah, okay.
Might just be like a setup in the sheet itself.
Possibly. Seems weird. Represents giant elk. Okay, that's the reason why. It's probably the original one. I should make it that one, which makes it your token.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then let's see. What can I do? Can't do that. I can do this. For 24 for I'm gonna roll it just again in case of the crit. Yeah. Nope, 15 damage.
Okay. 15 damage. Gore into it and deal a significant amount of damage. It snarls and gurgles
if
in
it
pain.
matters,
Hmm?
my bestial form counts as magic damage.
Okay. It doesn't, but
Ah.
yeah. It seems as solid and corporeal and as material as any other beast and creature or thing. But yeah. So you deal a significant amount of damage to this thing, and it's bleeding heavily now, barely able to stand. However, what it will do on its turn, unless you have any, let's see, transformed as a bonus action.
And attacked as a main and moved. So
Yeah.
that's all.
Okay. Let's see. On there go. Ziden, in your giant elk form, you hear from behind you the pitter-pat of wet feet as another one emerges from the shadows and stands behind you and prepares its own claws, which it will use upon you right now. And use them twice. So first attack, there's a 24 hit.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so that's 13 slashing damage, and I need you to make a Constitution saving throw.
It's
a
only a
6.
6.
So, you are poisoned for the next hour as this horrific pain shoots up from where you've been struck, and it feels like your skin and the wound is burning as this corrosive substance slicks off the claws of this thing and begins to sizzle and burn at you. In fact, it's because it has more strike, it's going to attack again. You can't have stacking poison, so you don't need to. Does 23 hit you?
Mm-hmm.
That's another 13 slashing damage. You don't need to roll Constitution save. You're already poisoned. In fact, I will.
Can't be mega poisoned.
Cannot be mega poisoned. We'll use that one to indicate poison. Okay.
We all play Pokemon. It's badly poisoned.
Okay, then the one that is being flanked. It will take a swipe at Hikan behind it. Does an 18 hit you?
It does not.
Oh, okay. Then it will attempt to perform its attack on you again. Does a 25 hit you?
25 indeed does hit.
Okay, so
That
it's
would
13
be
slashing damage.
5. And this is +1 because I still haven't figured that out for the Cloak of Protection. That's a 13, so no.
So no, you are also poisoned as this thing slashes across your arm, and you can see your skin begin to bubble as this acidic, horrible thing seeps into your skin, and you find yourself in a situation like the pain is so strong that you can't truly concentrate as much as you would like to. And then I think, let's see, what else have we got?
What else have we got? Yay!
So this one will. Renji, behind you, you hear the pitter-pat of wet feet as another one apparates out of the mist and menaces
Don't
you.
do this to me.
It's not quite close enough to nothing personnel you.
Mm-hmm.
And you think you hear another one somewhere in the mists, but it is sadly, you dart around and look and you can't seem to find it. There we go. And that would be their turns. Max.
Well, there seems to be a bunch of them. Have I noticed this one yet?
You hear
probably
it,
looking
but you hear it, but the mist is too thick in that area for you to see.
Okay.
You said that those were iron claws, correct?
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm gonna head south to the one that poisoned Ziden,
Hmm.
and that's going to bite onto his staff along the way as he loads up on Dragon's Breath. Of course, it's lightning,
Yeah.
and
It's a.
goes in a
Ooh,
cone
the damage.
to 26 lightning damage,
Okay, so dexterity saving throw.
or 13 on a success, which I get.
24. So it halves it, so it's 13
no.
lightning damage as it kind of pivots and pirouettes out the way, still caught along the side as the lightning blasts at it. Let's see. I want to ask, how, let's see, so it's a 15-foot cone. Let's see. 15.
It goes in sort of this way,
Okay.
so to there.
Yeah.
Those squares would
Okay.
be.
I wonder if I have a thing for this. I should do. Should really Nah, it'll take too long, and it'll cause the stream to lose frames, so I won't. But I do have some templates that are animated and stuff with lightning, but I need to find them again.
I'm going to keep walking past him a bit and
As you
be here to sync.
as you cast lightning, there is a crack and a little bit of a splinter as a stray bolt of lightning catches a window on the building that you're next to. It's not like massive collateral damage, but it's
It's fine, I'll fix it later.
yeah. Okay. Anything else you'd like to do on your turn? Do you have any bonus actions that you could take?
The bonus action was to load up on Dragon's Breath.
Ah, I see. Okay.
Because you can use the bonus action to give it to someone else as well.
Oh. So you can. Okay. In that case, Renji.
Right. Hearing the thing behind me, I instead move up to the one between Zydelk and Hikan.
Okay. As you
And
take your eyes off the one behind you, it melts back into the mists.
and I will just do like with Hikan and Elk flanking him. Do I have advantage?
I think you would.
Sadly, you
would
can't
if
draw
you
a
were
straight
there.
line between. If you move up one square, you will.
Okay, then I will be there, and I will attack with 2 Twilight Rapier strikes. That's a 23 to hit.
23 for hit for 10, which is you kind of. Actually, you know what? We haven't done this in a very long time. How do you want to do this?
So I hear that thing behind me, and I'm immediately like, no way. I just rush to my friends knowing that, like, I can assist them, and I just rush up to Hikan. The moment I'm next to him, I strike into the heart of this creature. And before I pull back, I already know that that has caused it to lose its life as it's drawn into my blade.
Yeah. So it's... and just, it freezes and then de-reses and is into your sword.
In that case, I did I move 10 feet or did I move 15 feet just now?
You moved 10.
10. In that case, I rush back 20 feet
Okay.
towards the other one,
Okay.
as far as I...
You may want to back up one square. There you go.
Yeah, sorry about that. And I just strike at that one as well.
Okay.
And I know that that doesn't give me advantage. So that would be a 14 to hit.
So you kind of rush back and you see it materialize from the mist as you get closer and closer. You strike forward, and it kind of like, in a limber fashion, just like dodges the blade. And it kind of, you can see it bring up its hand with the fingers splayed for the claws ready to strike. Yeah.
And that be that, I think. As for bonus action, yeah, I'm going to keep Hexblade's Curse just ready for maybe more monsters.
Okay. You can.
So I still have that Drumnik flask,
Yeah.
and the poison is painful.
Yeah.
Where did it claw me again?
Along your left bicep, let's say.
Okay, left bicep. Okay. So I would like to pour a little bit of the drumneck flask to see what would happen on the gash to see if it'll numb the pain. In short, I could flank with any of them. No. So
Okay.
we'll.
I like
Yeah.
that you're pausing in the middle of this fight to do some science.
But to be honest, that's
Trying
actually
to clean my wound.
that's really clever. I like that. So you take out the flask and you pour it on. It stings like a bastard as you do it first. Like somehow makes the pain worse, but after a while, the concoction sort of like as this morbid kind of rubbing alcohol seeps into the wound and numbs it. And while your arm feels a little bit sleepy and it's like really kind of it's like when you wake up and you slept on your arm for a bit. It does feel a bit numb and hard to control, but the pain is gone. You are no longer considered poison. Have inspiration. That was a really clever idea. Something I did
still
not
have
consider.
inspiration.
You still have inspiration. Oh god.
From Sebastian and from role playing. I gotta start spending this stuff.
Yeah.
Okay. Can I see any of the other ones?
You are sadly because the fog is so thick, you are unable to see the other ones. You can see the backside of Ziden, but everything beyond 10 feet is kind of lost to you.
You may have been aware of the loud crackle of lightning, though.
Yeah.
And I'm also aware that Renji came up next to me, stabbed something, and then ran backwards.
Yeah. So there's something over there.
So I will go over to Renji.
Okay.
I'll say that oh shit, there's someone there, and then I'll move into flanking position.
Yeah.
And then I'm gonna hit him for 3 times, or 4 times. I'll go ahead and burn another key point, so unarmed strikes.
Okay. So
That's 11.
11 does not hit, sadly.
18.
As you as you go by, it retracts its arm to avoid your first strike, and as you bring up the next one, like you've definitely got him now, you swing your staff through, and he just kind of puffs away in a cloud of fog, and you just see Renji on the other side of him as he dissipates.
Renji has a very strange look on his face, like, since when does your fist do that?
It doesn't. I didn't hit
Right.
it.
Okay.
I
I think that's enough for a round of conversation.
So from here to here is 30. I cannot make it to there, so I'll go ahead and pop that back up. And actually, I will still burn a key point, but I'm going to use it for patient defense.
Okay.
Okay, and that'll be turn, as I'm kind of looking around.
Ziden.
Trying to decide if I want to go for Omega damage on this guy or not. Yeah, why not? Bit of fun. So Ziden will back up, giving him an opportunity attack.
Okay. He lashes out at you. For
And
9.
then there's the sudden stomping of hooves, charging of the mist. Charging ram!
Tun, 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 tun. I feel really
Ow.
mean, but
Flanking!
yeah, it's flanking, but it uses reaction as you kind of buck through. It also explodes into a cloud of mist and vanishes.
At least he knows to fear.
He is on notice now. But holy fucking shit, that's 31 damage!
Had it hit? Yes.
Fucking nopes
Not
on out
even
of there.
max.
Hmm.
Oh
One of
dear.
those dice, at least 2 of those dice rolled minimum.
Yay.
Oh, that. Oh. Oh. Fuck. Oh dear. But yes, Is there anything else you want to do with your turn?
Kick at the floor angrily.
Just going to stomp, stomp. Break a couple of cobblestones.
They'll never suspect the giant elk in the middle of town.
You're just giving me more things to fix.
Yeah.
Max just shouts that.
Then it's their turn. Ziden and Max, for your part, kind of look around. You kind of try and concentrate on anything. Nothing seems to approach you, at least from what you can tell. Meanwhile, on the other side, Renji and Hikan, you hear more as something emerges from the shadows and moves deftly to get into position. It's going to take one swipe at Renji with its claws. That's a critical hit for 20 slashing damage. And you need to make a Constitution saving throw.
Constitution saving throw.
Where are all these crits coming from? Why are the dice gods being
I don't
weird
know.
today?
Why are you being so mean to us? That's an 11.
That's an 11. Yeah. So that's you are also poisoned as it slashes you across like the leg, like the thigh, and this this burning pain just takes your leg. And it's difficult to concentrate on anything else. And from behind, you see another one just run out of the mist. Right, actually no, it hasn't done a second attack yet. So this one does run into the mist, but the first one's second attack won't be at advantage because the other one hasn't gotten there yet. It's going to take a swipe at Hikan.
Okay.
21 hit you.
It's a 12. I used patient defense.
Ah, yes, it is a 12.
And it does not, because I have redirect attack, so I'm going to use my reaction, spending a key point, and since his friend popped up, he's going to hit his friend.
Okay. Oh, fucking brilliant. Awesome. Right. Let's see. Redirect attack. When a creature gets the monkey blind action, cause that attack to hit one creature of your choice other than the attacker. Okay, so the other one takes 10 damage as the claws sink in. And it needs to make a Constitution saving throw.
Yes.
But it is able to withstand the pain. You'd assume that if it had teeth, it would grit them. But it just kind of...
So Hikan just like sidesteps, grabs its wrist, and then shoves it without looking into its friend behind it.
I'd say your passive insight, Hikan, as a fighter, would be enough to know that its body language changed enough to note that it is affected by its own poison, which is weird.
Okay.
But yeah, so that's its turn, and then the other one is going to run over and attempt its claw attack against you. This one being normal because you've got patient defense, but it's flanking. Does a 22 hit you?
Indeed it does.
It takes 8 slashing damage. Hitting you in a different location. Okay. Please make another Constitution save.
Of course. A 17. I'm used to this poison now.
You know what it feels like. You know what to prepare for. You brace yourself and are able to withstand the pain. So much so that you are aware that it's going to strike at you again. I don't think a 15 hits you.
It does not.
They're able to. You are able to duck out of the way as. But yes, that will be their turn. Max.
Did I at least hear Renji cry out in pain?
I would assume so. If Renji cried out in pain.
I would want to say Renji tries to keep quiet, but yeah,
Can you let me help you, please?
Of damage. Yeah, you would have gone.
I was going to say, we're fighting these weird, poisonous Cthulhu things. Yes, but people are sleeping.
Yeah, it's going to be a very audible.
Gonna move up this way. Can I see them from
Yes.
this distance? Okay. That's close enough for this to be thrown in the face of the one by Renji. I'll do magic missile.
Okay.
So
Not on
15
me.
force the one by Renji.
Thank you.
For 15 force damage.
Okay. So magic missile cannot miss. So
Just baseball swing the darts right into his face.
yeah. Or he's arranged.
Oh
You
man,
see
that's a cool
the
vision. Oh, I was gonna say that's a cool vision, just like tossing up the magical energy and just whack as it splits. And
yeah. There's you watch as this thing like lights up briefly from the force damage as it collides with him.
Mhm.
And
I don't think the extra d4 got a +1, so this is actually 16.
Oh, 16. Okay, that's fine. But yeah, ordinarily I would say it would utilize its reaction thing. Actually, speaking of, I need to check a thing on the one that has disappeared before.
both of them
It
have.
does not recharge. Okay. Okay. So yeah, you hit it with your magic missile, and it's giving grievous damage. Anything else you'd like to do on your turn?
Nope.
Okay. Renji.
Well, I am not feeling great. So, like, I'm woozy, and this poison is working something. I step behind the thing, trying to give myself a bit more of an advantage, and I strike with my rapier once and twice, but not before I put Hexblade's Curse on the one between me and Hikan.
Okay.
So that is, I get a bonus to attack against it,
Okay.
equaling my proficiency modifier.
Mm-hmm.
And any attack roll I make against a cursed target is a critical hit on a 19 or 20.
Okay.
So I will use rapier once, and twice. That's a 15 and a 26.
A 24.
24 and 26. As you...
Well, no, because
No,
I'm
he's
poisoned.
poisoned.
Oh, he's poisoned.
Oh,
Oh, yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
So it nimbly dodges out of the first strike, and then as you kind of like compensate for the movement, like within the haze of pain, and strike forward again, as you find that the blade should penetrate, and you see the blade pierce through its chest, the image of it rapidly evaporates and is gone.
It takes 10 piercing damage, by the way.
Oh, the attack effectively missed.
Because it
Oh.
used its reaction for its
I see.
teleport.
I see.
Yeah.
Shucks. But it is still cursed for up to a minute.
Okay. So you can tell it's gone somewhere north,
Right.
but it's quite the distance away, like very far away.
So I stepped 10 feet, and now I'm going to move 20 feet to harangue the other one,
Okay.
and that's my turn.
Okay. Hikan.
I don't know what people are planning on doing this, so I will just go ahead and do 3 unarmed strikes. 26, 12, and 14.
Okay. 26, 12, and 14. The 26 hits. The other two do not.
Okay. We have one dead one, so I'll go ahead and just call that turn.
Okay. Let's see. So that is 9 points of damage. Okay. Ziden.
Ziden will go up here. Then he will stampede this way. To try and crush this one instead.
Okay.
For a whole 9.
A 9 sadly manages to duck and weave out of the way of your antlers as you charge forward, the thunderous steps of the giant elk moving through the cobblestone streets.
Look how bad that damage was on the roll as well.
Yeah. Oh no, a 1, a 6, a 1, and 1 still results in a total of 14.
Yeah.
That's horrifying. That is genuinely scary.
Why do you think I was willing to give up the opportunity attacks and such?
Yeah, that's fair. I mean, you're also a druid, so it doesn't really matter what happens HP-wise to you.
Kind of. You
Just
might
wait
not-
until he turns into a hippopotamus.
Oh god.
I would say that, as far as I can tell, throughout this entire campaign, Ziden Shari, the main character, has never taken any damage.
Nope. That's the beauty of druids.
Druid.
Because that's the weird thing. It's like a lot. Like I can't affect you. The only thing I can really affect you with as a druid is stuff that targets your hit points. Because most beasts don't have the greatest hit pools in the world. At least until you get to the point where you can turn into elementals, and then it becomes a different story entirely. But yes, on its go. Unless you have anything else you'd like to do, Ziden.
Just in case there is 2, and I don't really want to risk getting damage overflowing, I am going to try and work out where. There it is. Alright, I'm going to regain 6 hit points.
Okay.
Goodbye, first level spell slot.
Right. Then on
Yeah, I'm
its
done.
go, it's going to. Let's see. Doesn't really. Just thinking of how it's going to prioritize its threats. It's going to first swing at the monk that had struck it. I'm guessing a 9 doesn't hit you.
Nope.
Does
not.
Then it's going to try and swipe at the face of the giant elk, just as it comes up from attempting to buck at it. Does a 14 hit your AC, sir?
Yes.
Okay, you take 12 slashing damage, and it seems you're still already poisoned, so you don't have to worry about that.
For
then
an hour.
Still doesn't have its thing recharge, so that'll be Max's go.
You guys get the crackling smell of ozone to join whatever the hell these things smell like.
It's not the most pleasant smell
I'm
of
going
seaweed.
to use
Right.
Wind Spell. And then Shocking Grasp. That's 23 for 16 lightning damage and 25 for 17 lightning damage.
Okay. So the first, yeah. So how do you want to do this?
Basically, just like as the sputter crackling around his hands, he walks up to it. He just grabs one of the tentacles, pulls it down, and just smashes his fist into the side of his head.
To add a bit of flavor text on this one, you grab the tentacles, you pull it down, and as you swing with the haymaker, the face falls away and reveals a different face, which makes contact with it and does as expected for such tremendous damage. Like falling limp in your other hand appears to be a mask, and your fist seems to have struck what appears to be a rather slim Rivazora as you lightning explodes, and the guy just topples ass over tea kettle and slams into the ground, clearly and painfully dead.
So do I see the face of the River Zora or charred remains of one so far?
Yeah.
Okay, neat. I'm going to go ahead and run back to the other one then and check on it.
The other one
See
has
how you-
been wholly absorbed into Renji's sword.
It picked
Oh
a
yeah,
large.
no, that's right.
Whoops.
Do I have any more of the drumnik stuff left?
You do.
Okay. I'd like to use a capful or something to at least help alleviate the pain if Renji and Elk Ziden or Zidelk would allow me to do so. Just a little bit.
Yeah, why not?
I'm gonna warn you, it's gonna hurt like a bitch. And then I just pour it on right after that.
Okay. Ow.
Can Zide Elk, head reach above the mist, or is it that high?
It's quite tall. It's above the buildings.
Seeing as everything's turned quiet for a reasonable length of time, Zide Elk will stop being an elk.
Yeah.
Where's number 3?
Oh yeah, Hunter's Mark or Hex.
Yeah.
It seems to as said, it vanished and then you sensed it being somewhere to the north, but it is moving incredibly quickly further and further away. To the point where it kind of eventually gets to as the minute passes off,
Mm-hmm.
the distance between you and it is ludicrously far. Almost other side of town far.
It's gone.
Well, damn.
Ziden's just gonna quietly touch himself and cure the poison.
Yep. Alleviates the pain.
Oh yeah, you can do that.
Ziden ain't gonna tolerate no poison crap.
I know that we want to figure out what's going on, but I don't think that right now is a good idea. We can't see many things, and those things really hurt.
Yeah, you're right.
So you were saying they had a mask, and when the mask came off, it was a Riverzor?
Yeah, it looks like an octopus mask has just been really crudely put together, and the rest of the appearance is kind of covered in seaweed. As you kind of examine the body of this thing that you now have before you, you can quite clearly see it is a thin-looking Riverzora in studded leather armor, but the appearance has been adjusted to make it look like this horrific sea creature. How these things disappear and reappear into the mist, however, is a different story.
Can we check their bodies for any magical items?
Make an
I would like to
investigation
assist
roll.
somebody. I would like to assist with that.
I would also like to investigate then, if Hikan gives Ziden advantage.
I shall investigate with guidance
Ooh,
for a total of 21.
Yeah.
and a 9.
Okay. You begin to methodically kind of sort through the things on this thing's body, and you don't find any magical items. It appears the thing in its belt pouch had 3 gold pieces, 2 silver pieces, and what appears to be a small vial of a amber liquid, which has been corked, but it doesn't look traditionally like a potion. The claws themselves seem to have a small kind of sac which is connected to tubes, which then are connected to the actual crude-looking iron claws on the end of its gloves, which seem to secrete this kind of compound, it basically corrodes the skin, which is why it's so thoroughly painful. As you kind of examine the body itself, as you kind of remove bits and pieces, you see that these guys have tattoos. These long, elaborate-looking tattoos that kind of belie their otherwise crude costumes and appearances. like this really weird, intricate network of lines and dots and symbols that kind of run up their arm, and as you kind of examine further, extend like a kind of what's the word? Almost like a condition, like a virus that goes along their arm and towards the center of their chest. Those viewing it are free to make an Arcana check if they would like.
I will assist Renji with this one.
Okay then.
Max just kind of shudders when he looks at
18.
I get a 20.
it. 15.
Okay. With your rolls, you kind of have a look at it, and you believe that in many cases, it's not too dissimilar to how spell scrolls work, but inscribing magic into tattoos is a very long, delicate, and painful process. You would need someone with a lot of magical, not necessarily power, but theory, in order to actively, calmly inscribe such tattoos on them. But from what you can understand, looking at this and reading the little sigils as if it were a scroll, it looks as if that this tattoo grants two specific things. One, it gives them some kind of magical camouflage within the fog, which leads to why you weren't able to see them 10 feet away from you, as if they kind of melted into the fog itself. And the other thing is that they seem to have an ability where it's kind of like a panic button. They can channel the kind of magic to make themselves become one with the fog, kind of giving them a extensive sort of almost like an extensive misty step almost, but with much more far-reaching, as they kind of become one with the environment and reappear elsewhere.
With my knowledge of Misty Step,
Yeah.
is that something I could... Like, is that there something of this spell that I could make my own?
With an Arcana, you believe that potentially, but with your power coming from the Harvester more than anything, it's difficult to say. It would require a lot of time and practice and kind of experimentation to see if it works that way.
And you'd need a giant fog to teleport through.
Yeah.
True.
I will say in character, just as like this is being explained or like discussed out by the people that actually know magic, Hikan's like, dude, that's awesome. You mean I can get a tattoo and do magic?
Yeah.
Max's expression
So
darkens
what?
a bit at that.
But that seems really painful.
Like with Ziden, with your 20, you kind of get the more detail of like you've heard tell of stuff like this before. Imagine being on basically a tattoo artist's chair for 3 days straight as they administer the tattoo in with like a crude sort of fashion, like without like the proper anesthetic or any kind of medical procedure. It's like, okay, bare skin, I'm just gonna kind of dip a knife in ink and cut it into you sort of deal for 3 days.
Sort of
going.
like the
Ow.
old Celtic Druid tattoos.
Yeah.
That does not sound cool. Never mind, I'm sorry.
Yeah, it's more Ziden looks at Hikan thinking, you'd never sit still that long.
No, I wouldn't. You're right.
Max just gonna pace around and make sure no more of them show up.
Okay.
As we're looking through the thing, is there any symbols that look familiar, like the star?
Roll me another investigation check.
Since
Who has the highest investigation?
0.
2?
-2, but I asked, so.
Okay. Ziden and I will roll.
Okay. If you so wish.
And who do you want to give advantage to, Hikan?
I'll give advantage to you.
Okay, so we're both assisting.
Okay.
They are assisted.
All right. As you kind of search over him, on the arm that isn't covered in the inscribed tattoo, on the other arm is indeed a simple marking of a North Star.
I think we should.
You said this kind of magic could be complicated, right?
Mm-hmm.
Seemed like Flamco would be the type to be able to do something like that.
I don't doubt that he could. But that he'd be in a league with people who could.
Or the people that told Ramon how to make demon horses.
We should show this to Turnia.
Yeah,
tomorrow.
but where are we gonna keep a body?
Well, where do you think they have a lot of ice? Port City.
I mean, we could hide it in a bag of holding.
Will it fit?
No.
Oh.
Why not?
Just, I don't want to get Zora on my stuff.
We have more than one.
Oh yeah.
Fine, you do it then.
Alright. Fine.
Ziden will help load the body into Max's bag.
Into Max's handy haversack.
Yep. And you just spend an unceremonious amount of time kind of stuffing the corpse of this River Zora into your bag.
All the while Max is like quietly simmering. As he does.
Yeah.
Okay.
You may add one charred River Zora to your inventory.
One charred, tattooed River Zora.
Weighs roughly 120 pounds.
Keep his octopus mask as well.
Oh yeah, indeed, keeping the octopus mask, definitely.
One charred River Zora plus Octomask.
Yeah.
Okay. So, shall we go back to the inn? Keeping an eye out for more spookies.
Go do something first. Goes over, fixes that window he broke.
Alright. Like, as you kind of, like, move over to the window, you can see, like, a man and a woman kind of just huddled in a corner, terrified with their night clothes on, and just like...
If they don't spot me, I'm just gonna duck out the way and
You have the mist to
cast a
cover
spell
you.
from the side.
Yeah, that's fine. Yeah, they're too shocked, but you kind of just fix the window, and then all will be done. But yes, so you head back to the inn, having acquired a significant amount of information. Do you return in through the window, or do you try and get in through the front door?
Still have a spell slot left, so I don't mind.
Window.
Okay. You clamber back in through the window.
Yeah. And actually, before I go to bed, I would like to go downstairs to see if Thicket's still awake. I doubt it, but you never know Deku Scrubs, so...
So, first off, as you kind of slide in through the window, and you see Mara just kind of sitting on one of the beds, and she's just like,
Sorry about that.
Oh, it's just good to see that you're okay. I think. Are you guys okay?
Do I look okay? I asked the DM, not Mara.
You have a significant looking patch of, well, you have a significant looking wound on your leg.
Mm-hmm.
Though it's not like I'm guessing by that point, if it was bleeding, you staunched the bleeding. It just looks unpleasant.
Right.
And the same goes for Hikan's arm as well.
I probably still have the scar from where I was nicked by the Twilight Blade
Yeah.
on my left cheek.
Yeah,
Still.
that's been a stubborn thing to get rid of.
Yeah.
Like, it stands out more than you would like it to.
I am furious that my face, my beautiful face, has just this scar on it, and it. DM, does it like have some sort of specifically? Yeah, it's caused by this Twilight weapon, or it's just more like, yeah, it's a stubborn scar.
It's a
line, isn't it?
it's a stubborn straight line scar, and it's not even
Okay.
over one of your eyes. It's like across your left cheek.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. I think it makes him look more rugged.
I don't want to look rugged.
Why? It adds a certain worldly charm.
So
Oh, I don't want to be of the.
You can tell stories about how you wait now.
Oh,
You'll make up a story.
So what happened? Mara asks.
well, the thing is, this mist is being used by Zora?
Zora.
We don't know if it's all Zora, but
Well-
one we found was Zora.
Yeah.
Okay.
She's wearing a Fergie mask.
The mask was separate from the body, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So if I open the bag and stick my hand and think about the mask, I can pull out the mask for Mara to take a look at.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Ooh. This looks horrible.
Yeah, this
It's not my style, no.
this stuff like magic written on them so they could teleport and stuff.
Okay. Okay. Well,
Ziden will more clearly describe the tattoos and the magic they were using.
Max cannot elaborately describe the tattoos.
Maris kind of nods as if understanding. Says, "Yeah, I've heard of that. That's dangerous and expensive. I wonder who they got for that sort of thing."
Well, it's certainly something that we need to figure out.
Yeah. In the meantime, I think maybe you guys should get a bit of rest. You don't look too
Good idea.
That's a good idea.
I'm gonna go curl up on my old bit of floor.
Okay. Mara double checks that the
Gosh.
window is closed and will return back to her own bed in her own room.
Hikan will begin another trance.
Same here.
So it is that you rest for the night, and you wake up some hours later, daylight pouring in through the window. The mist having burned away fully. It's an otherwise pleasant day outside. And you can already hear the hustle and bustle of people beginning their business outside, doing their things. Now, we're probably going to be ending the session fairly soon, but I just want to get an idea as to what the plan is for the day so I know what to prepare for next time.
So when Hikan wakes up, rather than go through his kata, he's gonna actually focus on his key as kind of a different morning tradition. And then after he gets up for the day, he wants to go tell Thicket that the effects that the alcohol had, in addition, how it makes really good antiseptic and a numbing agent.
So you kind of your head downstairs. It looks at you. Oh, well, I suppose I could order some more. Maybe talk to the town surgeon, see if they want to use it.
Yeah, we ran into some things, and it got us really bad and poisoned us a little bit, but we couldn't feel it because everything was numb.
I sold you that flask last night before I locked up. There's not rats upstairs, is there? I don't like rats.
No. No. I'm kind of the not-so-smart one of the group, and I got bored in the middle of the night, so I made sure everything was closed and locked up, but I jumped out the window.
Why?
I was bored.
But people die out there.
I'm fine.
Well, yeah, but I think we did take care of some of the people who do the killing.
It's just kind of like his
It's
shoulder,
okay.
like he probably slumps as if completely defeated. Like, I've only known you guys for a grand total of like 2 hours, and already.
I think. Renji feels conflicted. Looking over at the others, like, should we tell him like where we're from and why we're here, just to settle him?
You know the scene in anime where it's kind of like the arms crossed with the hand framing the face and like vehement shakes of the head? That's what Hikan's doing.
Okay.
Nice, like, I don't know, you usually decide that.
Well, Thicket, don't worry. We can take care of ourselves.
Well, I'll trust you on that, but don't say that me or anyone else in town didn't warn you that it's dangerous outside.
We are aware of that, yes.
Well, okay. Did you want breakfast?
Yes, please.
Okay, I'll see what I can do.
Thank you.
He kind of hops down from the bar and totters back. You see the door open and close as he kind of disappears out of view into the kitchen. But yes.
But I do think for things that the party wants to do, we wanted to go see the mayor, right? And show her the body? Question mark.
Yes. That is kind of the idea that Renji has, at least. Given the previous encounter with Turnia, he does want to, like, keep her in the know and keep her in the loop.
Okay. Like Mara just kind of gives a nod. And says, okay, so that's the general plan. Yeah, that's a good place to start. I guess we'll go and deal with that then. And as you wait for breakfast to be served, we shall call an end to the session there. It's a little shorter than the last time, but I feel like anything else I have prepared for this would take us drastically into overtime, and I don't want to do that since some of us need work tomorrow. So thank you all so much for listening or watching. I have been the GM ArticulateT. This has been Hyrule Chronicles, a Legend of Zelda D&D 5e campaign, and with me today, playing Renji Vox, I have had TheNetherlad.
As always, a pleasure.
Playing Hikan Sio, I have had Alvarance.
Hikan is the reason why doctors way back when got away with so much crap.
Playing Ziden Shari, I have had Robopirate.
Hello, goodbye.
And playing Max, I've had Keistrith.
Goodbye.
And we'll see you guys on the next episode of Hyrule Chronicles. Take care. Bye-bye now.
Bye.